I'd love to talk about this topic a little bit more. We got to move on because this weekend has a stacked card in the Middle East. It's UFC on ABC 7. They're bringing some big names to UFC. Two of them fell off because of Nick Diaz. We will also won't see Vicente Luque. But look, there's going to be a lot of eyeballs because it's going to be on ESPN and ABC. Bantamweight's my favorite division, so I'm pumped. What say you? Let's talk about Cory Sandhagen versus Umar Nurmagomedov at the top of the bill. What's the importance of this bout, and who wins, Danny?
Man, it's huge. I mean, this fight I think could determine the next title challenger at 135 pounds, especially if it's Cory Sandhagen, given that he's ranked number 2. Now, I can see a case where Umar gets a shot. He is ranked number 10, but heck, if he beats Cory Sandhagen, I would say he's pretty deserving. And the guys that are at the top right now, in the top 5, they're all coming off losses or perhaps are just getting back into their winning ways. Talking about Peter Yan, Chito Vera, Henry Cejudo, right? So I think the winner here will likely end up fighting for the belt. The winner of Dvalishvili and O'Malley. So we'll see. So yeah, it's an extremely important fight, very exciting fight as well, styles wise. And I still don't have much of a pick. I'm gonna go with Sandhagen, but man, Nurmagomedov, that name holds a lot of weight, right? And he has proven to be a tough out for everyone. So I can see a world where he wins a decision, but I got to go with Sandhagen. He's sort of the more proven guy. And look, in his last few fights, he's shown a lot of wrestling actually, and maybe he'll be able to fend off some of the takedowns and beat him on the feet.
Shara Magomedov is him and Olecheknik. They're stepping in for Luque versus Diaz. That guy's kind of popular. He's got that look, right?
Mm-hmm.
But your thoughts, man, on this? You think Shara Magomedov might steal the show out there? You know, they love him out there, and undefeated. Looks like the UFC's kind of getting behind him a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's going to be maybe a slow rise. He is very charismatic. I think a lot of people like him. And I think he's a good fighter, and I think there is room for improvement. I think he is going to be getting better, and I think he's a guy that we have to keep our eye on.
That guy's got to be the villain on Taken 4. Liam Neeson, is that his name? The star of those movies?
Uh-huh.
Book that guy, man.
You are.
Book that guy. He should be on those types of movies, man.
If there's a fourth movie, I think the villain's got to be Liam Neeson, right? Letting that many people get taken that many times, like, come on.
Yeah, something's weird going on there.
Hasn't his daughter's gotten taken twice, hasn't she?
Yeah, you kind of suck at your job at that point.
Go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, I'm gonna step in here and I'm gonna call upset alert. I think Shara Magomedov loses this Saturday. I'm not sold on it. Yeah, the hair's nice, the beard's nice. You know, the whole thing with the eye, like he looks badass. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm glad that he got that movie role. But I am not sold. I am not sold just because he looks cool, just because he can talk well. That doesn't mean you can fight well. From what I've seen so far, I'm not sold. I'm taking Michael. I think he's winning a decision. You heard it here first.
I like it. How about Figgy? Are you excited about Figgy, Nolan? He's obviously been on a roll since coming up from 125, where he was a world champion. What are your thoughts on him versus Marlon Vera? And by the way, I think Vera's taking this fight a little too soon, but he's a grown-ass man. He signed the contract. Talk about this matchup again in my favorite division, the bantamweight division.
Yeah, no, this card's awesome. I mean, you look at the depth on it. These sort of fights frustrate me as somebody that's trying to be an analyst, but I also love them because of that. There's just so many intangibles, right? You got Davison, who's kind of still figuring himself out at 135. We're still figuring him out at 135 as well. And then you got Marlon, who kind of had a very close fight against Pedro Munoz to earn that title shot. Then he goes out there and really takes a tremendous amount of damage from Sean O'Malley. So I don't know how he'll look coming back, as you said. What is this? 5 months later, 4 months later, something like that. That's a quick turnaround time for a guy that took that knee that Sean O'Malley hit him with too. So I'm intrigued by this fight. I'm kind of leaning towards Davison, but I still am not really confident because I'm not sure how his body will be at this weight class. Cody, who he fought last, is also kind of on the smaller side of 135. We've seen him try 125 before as well. So great fight. It's kind of a shame some of these are only 3 rounds, but some day fights, some really meaningful contender fights. I can't complain. This is a great card.
Day fights, yes. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm so excited for that card.
Make up for last week a little bit.
In the chat room, let's see here. Karate Ted Toon says Figgy is much faster. I imagine he's leaning in that direction. Sky V's and El Daddy says big overall MMA test for Shara, but I'm intrigued. Somebody was agreeing with you, Danny. Let's see here. Josh Wallace. He's also picking Mikhail Olenechik versus Shara Magomedov. Karate Ted Toon says, I tell my students not to throw naked kicks until I see them work. I think he's talking about Shara. He says no telegraph on them bullet kicks. EQ says this is Usmar's first ever ranked opponent. Huge jump in competition. Give me the Sandman on the money line. I kind of agree. I know that Umar is that boogeyman and nobody wants to fight him and this and that, but nobody wanted to fight Hamza Shemaev, and then Gilbert Burns kind of exposed a little bit, and then Kamaru Usman had a good run at him. So yeah, I'm not convinced until you get in there with the top cats. I agree with you, EQ. I'm liking Sandhagen in this fight too, and I also think Figgy is the real deal at 135 pounds. I think he could be a future champion. How about you guys? Real quick, Goes Figgy, future champ?
I'm gonna say no. What he's done so far has been pretty impressive, but that is a long road.
Can't connect on O'Malley's jaw.
I don't think so. I mean, look, if you plug him into that fight, does he have a chance? Yeah, of course. But it's the road there, the road through those killers.
Yeah, Danny, what do you think?
Oh man, such a tough one. I do think he fights for the belt. I like what I'm seeing from Figueiredo at 35. He's using a lot of his wrestling and his jiu-jitsu, something we didn't see at 125 because he didn't have the gas tank because it was cutting so damn much weight. So he is a better fighter at 135. He's looking great. He fights for the belt. But man, if Dvalishvili becomes champion, which I think that's what's gonna happen, I don't think anyone will take that belt from him, at least for some time. And that guy just is incredible.
Tough Mexican, the Dvalishvili. All right, how about you, Nolan King? Can Figgy be a world champ?
I think it's too tough, man. I think he already was a world champion, right? So we saw him. I think he went out and accomplished great things. To do it again and 135 would be absolutely incredible, and I'm not ruling him out. But when I look at this division, I see guys like the Sandhagens, like the Umars of the world that are even those fights just to get your shot at gold. I think it's going to be an uphill climb. Not saying he can't do it, but I would lean towards no.
No, and I'm staying with you here. What about Tony Ferguson? Quietly, he's on this card against Michael Chiesa. You know the same thing's going to happen. Is this his last one, win or lose? Do you even think he's going to win? And then Michael Chiesa, he's not, no spring chicken either. Definitely has a future in broadcasting, knows the sport in and out. What are your thoughts on this fight and both of these guys and where they're at in their careers?
Yeah, they're both fan favorites for a reason. I think I have a lot of respect for both guys, but they're clearly towards the really tail end of their careers, particularly Tony. I thought, Michael has not looked particularly great recently either. I don't know if it was bad training camps or injuries or whatever. So I do think if you were going to give Tony Ferguson a fight, this was good matchmaking in that regard, like somebody that I see paths to victory, and he probably, hopefully won't take too much damage. I'm not really sure who's going to win. I would maybe lean towards Chiesa, but I think if Tony does lose again, this should be it. I think Dana said after two different fights now that was going to be the last one. So I'm not sure what his contract status is, or if he's kind of getting the legend sort of, the being able to call his own goodbye. But particularly if he gets finished, if he gets knocked out, I really, really think he should stop. But I don't know. Just so many losses in a row. How can I say anything else but no?
Guys, I just had deja vu. Have we had this conversation before?
Yeah. It's a 7-fight losing streak or 8-fight losing streak?
I don't know.
I think it's like 8. I think he broke BJ Penn's record.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This would be 9.
Oh man, do you guys hope Tony wins?
No,
just to break that streak.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
I hope for a draw.
Sorry, this will be 8. This would be 8. But yeah, I mean, a guy that hasn't had much, hasn't had a victory since 2019. It would be kind of hard not to feel good for him if he did go out there and win.
Are you talking about Miocic again, or are you still talking about Ferguson?
No, that's the last time Stipe fought.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah,
look, I actually hate this matchup. It's at 170. Chiesa's huge. Have you seen him? He looks like a light heavyweight. And look, Chiesa's like, he's pretty good. Like, I know he's also getting older and he's up there in age, but like, I think, he went to the distance with Sean Brady. Look at how good Sean Brady has looked. I don't know. I think this is a terrible matchup. I mean, he's just going to be so much bigger than Tony Ferguson. Why the hell doesn't the UFC do Tony Ferguson versus Nick Diaz? Now that's a fight.
Yes,
That's a fight that I'll sign up for.
especially now that there's a chance to rebook it. Like I wish we could.
Yes,
because you could have said, "Hey, Luque, you know what? You really wanted to fight. You go fight Chiesa." And now that we thought about it, since Nick can't fight, we'll bring Tony back and we'll just feature them. You're right. I would have liked that as well.